channel. I'm really pleased that people have been watching the videos that I've been making as I sort of got going with my 1 year challenge. I am about 5 weeks in now on my putting my diabetes into remission. Again, that's not the official title. I can never remember what the title is of it. It's Type 2 Diabetes Pathway to Remission is what I think it's called. And I'm about 5 weeks in. So as you can see, because I'm 5 weeks in, I obviously haven't given it up yet. So I'm going to, in this video, basically let you know how I've been getting on, any difficulties that I've encountered, and sort of the changes in my health, things that I'm noticing. So yeah, so I've already done a vlog where you saw me talking about my history, and also a vlog on my very first day when I first got started. I was on my way into work and I'd had my first shake, and I had a few minutes to kill before I went into work, so I thought I'd do a quick video to let you know how I was feeling and how I'd been feeling sort of on the run up to getting started. So since day one, what can I say? The first week was going brilliantly. I was drinking plenty of fluids like they advised you to, because I did find that the meal replacements were making my mouth quite dry. So I was drinking plenty of fluids. You are allowed, of course, water, which I was infusing with lemon. 0 calorie drinks you're allowed, and the sugar-free squashes. So I'd taken, and was taken into work with me. I had like about a 750 millilitre container, which it's got like a basket in it where you can put sliced lemons in, so the lemon would infuse the water. So I was using that container, and then I was also taking in a second bottle, like a thermal bottle, that was keeping, I was getting sugar-free Vimtos and that sort of thing. So I was keeping that in my locker, and I was making sure I drink all the water up to lunchtime, and then I would have maybe a black coffee with my lunch, and then in the afternoon I was making sure I was drinking the Vimto. Then in the evening I'd be coming home and I'd perhaps have maybe another black coffee, or just more water, or a calorie-free fizzy drink. That for the first week, and I did find it a bit difficult, because I'm not really one for drinking a lot, and especially if I'm doing sort of with the meal replacements, they're all liquid, so I did kind of get to a stage where I felt like I was drowning to an extent, because I was putting on board so much liquid. But you know, I stuck with it during the first week. And you know, all was good in that respect. As I was getting towards the end of my first week, unfortunately my mum had an accident, which she ended up in hospital on a high dependency unit. So as you can appreciate, my worrying and my stress levels kind of went through the roof, and oh God, the one of the days that she was the first day that she was in hospital, when I got home, all I really wanted to do was just get a takeaway and a bottle of wine, but I didn't. I did stick with it. I didn't have any wine or anything, even though, you know, I seriously could have done with a drink at that moment in time. But you know, I did stick with it, and obviously, you know, my family's been amazingly supportive, and they were like, when I was saying, oh, I could just drink a glass of wine, they're like, no, you're doing really well, stick with it, you know. So that was really good. I mean, they had a takeaway. I didn't. I sat and watched them have a takeaway. Cruel, torturous. No, it wasn't that bad. You know, I made sure that I ate when they were eating, so if they did have a takeaway anyway, they were eating their takeaway as I was eating my soup, so it kind of distracted me a little bit from you know, what they were having and whatnot. So, you know, it wasn't that torturous really. But it was an incredibly stressful week. Obviously that went on for a few weeks while I've been doing the meal replacements, because Mum has only been out of hospital just a little over a week now, I think. So for the majority of the time I've been doing this, I have been busy rushing around because her accident, she fell down the stairs. She lives in a terrace house where the stairs are very steep, and she does struggle with the stairs anyway. So we decided to bring her bedroom downstairs, because she's got a downstairs bathroom and everything. So we decided to sort of position all the house for her, which, you know, sounds like it would be a quick and easy job, but unfortunately it took us weeks to sort furniture and get wardrobes and get a bed downstairs and get everything so it looked nice for her, ready for when she come back out of hospital. So it has been quite stressful, but also at the same time quite a good distraction, because I wasn't constantly thinking about food, because I had so much else on my plate, you know, with working and seeing to my mum and going visiting at the hospital and seeing to a house, plus then running my own house. So we've all been sort of up against it, and I think it was quite a good distraction to an extent. Like I say, there was times that were quite stressful and worrying, but, you know, head down, and I ploughed on. So, you know, I'm really pleased with myself for doing that, because any other time, I think, you know, asked me 12 months ago and, you know, I'd have been the first one to give up, because I've got absolutely no willpower whatsoever. But for some reason, you know, it obviously must be very important to me what I'm doing, because I did stick with it. So that was kind of my first week. All in all, I had a good week. Unfortunately, I do have a stomach condition anyway, and as anticipated, the products did start to irritate my stomach. And, you know, I won't go into details about that because it wasn't pleasant, but, you know, running to the loo every 10 minutes and making sure I was always close by to a toilet was a necessity for the first week, I have to say. But you know, that was just sort of one of the side effects to doing this. Yeah, so all in all, a good first week. I won't tell you just yet how well I did on the first week. Now, week number 2. So, how did it go at week 2? Well, I was still doing okay. I started experimenting with the flavours for the soups. I tend to have a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch when I'm in work, because it's easier, and a soup for my evening meal, and then I've been having a shake at bedtime, which I usually have the chocolate shake at bedtime, because you can warm it up, so I turn it into a bit of a hot chocolate before I go to bed. So that's what I've been doing. So the shakes are shakes. I've not added anything to them, but the soup, I started after the first week. I think I mentioned in one of the other videos, even though the flavours aren't unpleasant, they do both taste the same. One's chicken, one's vegetable, but they are very similar in flavour. So I started adding seasonings to them. So what I was doing was, if, say for example, my husband Ian was making a Chinese meal, because we tend to cook from scratch, and Ian does a lot of our cooking because he's really good at it. So if he was making, like, say, a Chinese for him and my daughter, he would, whatever seasonings he put in their Chinese food, he would add and make my soup for me and add the same seasonings to my soup. So my soup smelt and had a taste same or similar to what they were eating. So again, that made it a whole lot easier when they're tucking into, you know, something really tasty and looking delicious, and I'm with my bowl of beige coloured soup. It did make it a lot easier because I was still getting the Chinese flavours. I could smell the Chinese smells, and he did that with every meal, whatever nationality of food he was cooking, because he makes curries and Mexican food and Chinese food. He would always add the same blend of herbs and spices to my soup that he was putting in whatever him and Amy were having for their tea. So again, that worked brilliant for me and was really helping me to get through week 2. In week 2, I don't think I was really noticing any major changes in my health. My stomach was still being irritated by the food. They had sent me some fibre to add to the shakes and things, to sort of 1 a day, and they'd suggested that I maybe try cutting that out or cutting it down. So I did start to have just the fibre once every other day to see if that helped. It did at first, but then my stomach still become unsettled and still had the same issues of feeling yucky, particularly in the evenings. It seemed to be, I was okay during the day, but then in the evening, after I'd had my evening meal, which like I say was usually soup, my stomach would start churning and gurgling, and then just running to the loo every 2 minutes or whatever. Which, like I say, I'm not going into detail because it just wasn't pleasant. But yeah, it was still, my stomach was still unsettled at that stage. So again, that's week 2. I won't tell you just yet how well I did on week 2, and I'm going to break it all down for you at the end. So then on to week 3. So I've made myself some notes here, and I have written to remind. I was trying to remember. It's a few weeks ago, I was trying to remember how I was feeling and that type of thing, and I have written here that amazingly on week 3 I was still on track. Despite everything that had been going on, I still hadn't faltered. I had at work been offered cakes and sweets and crisps and biscuits. I work in a supermarket. Fortunately, I don't have to walk through the food aisles to get to where I work, so I don't work on the shop floor. I actually work in the offices, which are behind the scenes, if you like, at the supermarket. So I don't have to walk through the food, but we do get sort of managers and other members of staff who obviously are buying nice things for the lunch from the shop floor, and you know, people are kind and always offer. You're like, if they've bought a pack of biscuits or cookies or something, they're like, would you like one? And temptation, but I always said no, thank you very much. Or you know, a few people know at work that I'm doing this meal replacement thing, so obviously they're quite respectful and don't want to put that temptation in my way. It's usually people who don't know, and I just gracefully decline, and in my head my little devil's going, go on, have one. My little angel's going, no, you're doing well, stick with it. So you know, it's got all that battle going on in my head. But amazingly, by week 3 I'm still absolutely stuck with it and doing all right. I had started, I think, by week 3 introducing a few sugar-free items, so because I'm allowed to have some sugar-free stuff. So in the evenings particularly, we always have a tendency to, once we've had our evening meal, that we would maybe have a small chocolate bar or a small pack of crisps of some sort after tea as a snack, as a treat while watching telly. And that's been a habit that I'm struggling to break. Obviously my daughter and my husband are still doing that, and I was finding that it was making me a little bit tetchy if I could hear them muffling the crisp packets or crunching on the crisps or whatever. It was getting on my nerves. So my daughter, it was, who actually found some sugar-free mints and sweets and things, and bought me a little bit of a sugar haul, if you like, or a sugar-free haul of different types of sweets for me to try. So I have had a few of those in the evenings, sugar-free chewing gum. That helps. It helps keep my mouth, because after I've had these drinks and soups and things, my mouth tends to go quite dry. So again, it just helps relieve that a little bit, and it makes me feel like I've got treats as well, and then sat eating the crisps and chocolate bars and things. it makes me feel like I've got something as well. So again, it's just like tricking the mind, I suppose, isn't it? So you know, I've done that. I've not been tempted in any other way. Like I said, people have offered me things, and I have declined. So again, week 3, dusted, no issues, stomach still a bit off, but then again, like I say, it's medically supervised, so they're advising me what to do, what to try, and I've had days where it's eased off, but then it's flared back up again. But I do have a stomach condition, and they think there's something in the meal replacements that's irritating my stomach. So moving on to week 4, again, still on it, weren't tempted to come off it in any way, shape or form. I was, you know, I'm starting to, by week 4, I was starting to notice clothing going a bit looser on me. I was noticing changes in my shape a little bit, particularly on my stomach, and the areas what are particularly flabby. I don't really like that word, but you know, the areas that I'm holding most of my excess fat, the flabby bits, were starting to go dimply, and that then started to raise another concern with me, because I'm losing weight. Like I say, I don't want to give too much away, but it is coming off, and I don't want to end up being all saggy skin because it's come off too fast or whatever. So I've spent the past week or so looking and researching how you can increase your elastin in your skin and your collagen to try and help to prevent that from happening. At the moment, I'm just about to start using the Palmer's Cocoa Butter Firming Lotion, which is aimed at people who are going through weight loss and also pregnancy. So I'm just about to start that. I've had some delivered today, so I'm going to start trying that, and I'll obviously keep you updated with that as well, to let you know how I'm getting on. Now at week 4, the other thing I'd started to introduce, so I've introduced seasonings into my soups, and I've introduced a few sugar-free mints or like boiled sweet type things, and then I discovered Schlur. Now I knew Schlur was a thing anyway, which is like a grape juice, what looks like or tastes like wine if you put it into a wine glass. But I didn't know they did a 0-calorie one, which was fantastic, because as I said, I've had a stressful few weeks, and the one thing that I always wanted was a glass of wine in the evening, to just kick back, chill with a glass of wine. And we've discovered Schlur 0. So it's lovely to have. It's a really refreshing drink, and I've been pouring it into a wine glass, so it actually makes me feel like I'm having a glass of wine. It's the same colour as wine. I bought a red grape and a white grape. The white grape looks just like white wine. The red grape looks like red wine, but perhaps not as dark as a red wine. And it's very fruity, really refreshing drink. And if it's in a wine glass, I tend to, it's the trick of the mind, because I tend to drink it like it's a glass of wine. So I'm not downing it like you would maybe a glass of squash or whatever. I do sip at it like I would sip at a glass of wine. So again, it's the illusion I'm having a glass of wine. So anybody who is losing weight in any way, shape or form, or trying a calorie count or whatever, I'd recommend Schlur 0. It doesn't taste particularly like wine. Like I say, it is a nice, refreshing, fruity drink. But if you're putting it into a wine glass, it's got that sparkle, and it's got just that feel of having a glass of wine. So I would definitely recommend Schlur 0. I'm noticing my clothing is all going looser on me, particularly my shoes, which is really weird. When I put my feet in my shoes, they seem to be like sort of rattling around inside my shoes. So this week I've had to get myself another pair of shoes because I usually buy a wide fit shoe. I've had to buy the shoe what's not as wide. So we'll see whether, hopefully they'll not be too tight on my feet, but we'll see, and if they are, then give it a week or two. I'm sure they'll fit me in due course, because I you know, it's going great. I'm not losing any sort of momentum with it. I've been a little bit down, and I'll explain why shortly when I start getting on to how my results are doing. So then that brings me to week 5. So week 5 was last week. I'm almost at the end of week 6 because I started this on a Thursday. So this Thursday will be the week 6. So end of week 5, again, was feeling great. I did start to look into the containers because they send you these big, giant, chunky black containers which are full of just powder, and there's like a scoop in there which is about the size of a tablespoon sort of scoop, maybe a little bit bigger. But the as I was like looking into the container, I thought, oh, some of them seems like we're going down really quickly, particularly the chocolate, because I have a chocolate shake every night before bed, and I either warm it up and make it into like a warm hot chocolate, or I just have it cold, because it's chocolate. When I was doing the sample packs before I started, chocolate wasn't really one of my favourite ones. It was I felt like a bit processed, but as time's gone on and I've been having it warmed up, and I've kind of got used to the taste of it now, so I have that every night. So that has gone down quite a bit in my tub, but the others are still about halfway down the tubs, I think. But it did make me wonder whether once I run out of the chocolate, what am I going to do? I'm going to have no chocolate. So I started looking for sugar-free, because they have mentioned when we have like a Teams meeting with like a counsellor or a mentor type person once a week, and she has mentioned about flavouring your shakes and things with syrups, but like the zero calorie syrups. So I wasn't going to bother with that at first, but then when I seen that the chocolate powder's gone right down, I decided that perhaps I should be looking to think of ways of flavouring, maybe the vanilla or some of the others. So I had a look, and I think somebody told me anyway about the Skinny Food Company. I'm not sponsored by any of these people, by the way, the Schlur and all the Uncle Joe's mint balls and the Skinny Food Company. They don't sponsor me. I've just sort of looked up different products and just trying really to get myself through the week, because as you can imagine, just constantly having liquid isn't an easy thing to do, and this is just ways of making things a little bit more easier, and then it just spurs me on for that, maybe that extra week. But so Skinny Food Company, they do a lot of stuff, and again, I'd recommend you check them out, because it's the stuff's quite good, the different things they have. So I've invested just initially, just to try them, a peanut butter syrup, which is sugar free, 0 calorie, and what's the other one I got? I can't remember, a chocolate one. And then I got like a little flavouring drops, flav drops, I think they refer to them as, which was cookie dough. So I've been having vanilla a few times, and I've added the peanut butter to the vanilla. In fact, I usually have the banana shake for my breakfast more often than not, and I've been adding a bit of the peanut butter to that to make peanut butter and banana, which is lush. And I've added a few of the cookie dough drops to the vanilla one. Again, amazing, tastes like cake batter. It's really nice. So I'm hoping that once my chocolate powder runs out, that these flavourings are going to be enough with the vanilla and the banana and strawberry that I've got left to just get me over that finish line before I then move on to the next stage of my programme. So so I've been experimenting with those, and like I said, I've been researching some different creams and things that I can use on my skin, so that I can prevent like saggy skin. I've just literally today have delivered the Palmer's firming lotion, so I rubbed a little bit on my arm and it smelled really nice. So I'm going to be lathering myself in that probably at bedtime. Yeah, so that is where I'm up to as far as my 5 weeks of total diet replacement is concerned. Now, so results, how am I getting on? So I started this on the 20th of July, which was a Thursday. Before I'd started this, I mentioned in one of my earlier videos that I had started a 12-week NHS calorie counting app, which I was 4 weeks in on that app. And in that 4 weeks, I'd lost 6 pounds. So at the end, when I tell you my total what I've lost, I'm going to add on that 6 pounds because I'm not discounting it. Because when I got accepted to the program, I thought, great, I can eat what I want now because I'm not going to be eating for 12 weeks and then sometime afterwards when I'm being weaned back onto normal food. So let's eat all the goody stuff that I can have now. And it was very short-lived because within 2 days I felt incredibly ill. I think my weight had jumped up by a few pounds and I thought, no, can't keep this up until I start. So I stopped it straight away and went back to calorie counting and following the NHS app. So in the 4 weeks leading up to me starting, I lost 6 pounds. So like I say, I'm not going to discount that because it's not easy losing weight, as I'm sure you all know, and every pound matters. So week 1, so when I weighed myself on the 27th of July, I had lost 9 pounds. I then weighed myself on the 2nd of August, which was week 2, and I'd lost a further 5 pounds. So in that 2 weeks, I'd lost a stone. Then on the 9th of August, so again, week 3, I'd lost 3 pounds. At week 4, I lost a further 4 pounds, and then on week 5 I also lost a further 4 pounds. So it had slowed down a little bit, but I'm to an extent pleased with that because if you lose weight way too quickly I would look like a saggy mess, so I'm pleased that it did slow down. So overall I'd lost 25 pounds while I've just been doing the meal replacement. So then if I add on to that 6 pounds that I lost before, that gives me a total of 31 pounds, which gives me 2 stone and 3 pounds loss. Oh, she was 20, so a bit of a skeleton. But yeah, 2 stone, 3 pounds I've lost over the 6 pounds I've lost prior to starting this. So in 5 weeks, I'd lost 25 pounds, which was just over 2 stone. So blood sugars, because that's the important thing. So now my blood sugars, a little bit different because when they took my readings from me, my blood sugar when I was fully medicated, so I was on 4 tablets a day, and my blood sugar levels were at 7.5 mmol/L. Don't know what that means, as I said in my earlier video. I really don't know what it means, don't understand how these blood sugars work. But that was my, so at 7.5 fully medicated. Then they told me when I started to halve my medication. So I halved my medication, and in the first week my blood sugar levels shot up and went to 8.3. So obviously not great because, but they told me to expect that to happen because my medication had halved. But then over the 5 weeks, I'm pleased to say that my blood sugars have come down back to the levels that I was when I was on double the medication. So my blood sugars come down to 7.5 again. So that's great. Then my body mass index, my BMI, so that's come down by 6 points. I don't know how that works. I don't know what measurement that's in, but I've come down. My figure has come down by 6. So again, that's great. And I've also lost 2.5 inches off my waist. They always tell you to measure your waist, so I have been doing, and I've lost 2.5 inches off my waist. So that's my stats, and like I say, I'm still going strong. I've introduced a few different flavours to keep it interesting, so I'm not getting bored with the same flavours over and over again. And anybody else who's doing this, I would recommend maybe that if you start thinking you're waning a little bit and you think that you want to be sort of having the same flavours, that's what I'd recommend. Maybe add a bit of seasoning. If you're struggling because your family's matching your meals, adding different meals to you, maybe try matching your seasoning so the soup and things smell and taste the same as what they're having. Try and eat at the same time as they're having, because I really find that if they're eating and I'm not, I get agitated really quickly. I wasn't like that before. It never bothered me to sit and see somebody eat before when I was eating food, but for some reason now I just get agitated very quickly. So I would suggest, my tip would be to eat at the same time as your family, or distract yourself, go out the room, do something different while they're eating if you can't manage to be in the same room or whatever. I even find, because sometimes my family sit and eat crisps and things and I've not got anything, so just having the TV on and being distracted by the TV, you know, it all helps. Get up and just make yourself a drink or do something. In fact, talking about making yourself a drink, that is one thing I have been struggling with, because I can't have milk in any of my drinks, and I love coffee. So coffee is one thing that I started, before I started the plan, I thought, well, I'll cut down on the milk and have black coffee. I can't drink black tea at all. I just find it really bitter and not nice. But coffee, I don't know whether it's because my shakes are so sweet, but the coffee tastes very bitter. So that, again, I did experiment. I bought some of the Beanies coffee, which is flavoured coffee, but again, it's like got next to no calories in. I think it's like 2 calories per cup or something, which I'm allowed something like that as long as I'm not having excessive calories. You know, it's like a really low calorie drink, and it's but even that, even though I can taste the flavours and I get the smell of, like, because I got a creamy caramel and an Irish cream one, but the smell and the taste, you know, they do taste like the caramel and everything, but I don't know, it's just the milk just takes the edge off the coffee for me, so I am struggling, so I've stopped drinking those as well. What I have started drinking tea wise, I've been having Lapsang Souchong tea, which again is a bit of an acquired taste. It may not be for everybody. I tend to put some slices of lemon in mine, and I don't leave the tea bag in for too long, so I don't have it really, really strong. But and I also put a little bit of sweetener in it, like some canderel or whatever, in the just to take again the bitterness off it. So I've been having 1 cup of that a day, because again, you don't recommend you have too much Lapsang Souchong tea. It's really got lots of health benefits to it, but too much of it can end up having the adverse effects. So I just have 1 cup of that a day, and then in the times where I perhaps would have a coffee, I've been having a hot Vimto in place of it, which again, luckily I like hot Vimto, so I'm finding that quite easy. But I don't have a lot of coffee these days anyway. I'm caffeine free, I don't drink caffeine. But yeah, that's my tips around having tea and coffee, because I personally was struggling not having milk. So, you know, maybe once I'm introducing things like that again, I might rethink having milk anyway, and maybe have maybe skimmed milk or something, so I can still keep the calories down. But you know, that's for the future. For now, I'm quite happy drinking hot Vimto and having the Lapsang Souchong tea and just cold drinks. So yeah, so that's where I'm up to. I'm hoping you're enjoying the videos. I'm sorry it is just me talking at you. I've not got anything amazing to show you. I'm certainly not going to be showing you my dimples and things, so you're not going to see me stripping. None of that going on this channel. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's support, and as I said in previous videos, please subscribe to my channel. If you hit the notification bell, it will notify you when I've uploaded my next video. And obviously, if you're liking what I put, then hit the like button. It just helps my channel to grow. and get more viewers. I appreciate that probably most of the viewers who are watching the videos at the moment are people who I know, who are my friends, particularly through Facebook, because that's where I'm telling everybody the videos are being sort of advertised through. But I'm hoping in time that there may be somebody, you know, in a different part of the country who's thinking of trying this very thing out, and hopefully I can be of some help to them and giving them some tips and advice as I go. So I will try and get another video done. My next weigh-in, which will be going into week 6, will be on Thursday. So I shall try over the weekend to get a video done. Perhaps not as long as this one, because I have to catch up for what, 5 weeks. So I can't imagine having that much to say for it all in a week. You never know, I'm gonna think of something. So I will do my next video, and again I'll upload it. I'll pop a thing on Facebook to let you all know it's about, but if you press for the notification bell I won't need to do that because it'll tell you anyway. Okay, well, it's lovely talking to you all again, and again thank you for wishing my mum a speedy recovery, and she is doing okay, thanks everybody for asking, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.